It always likes to default off of my Yeti. Let me make sure we're okay. I believe we are okay. Gotta love it. It's been a long time. It's been a long time, everybody. It's been a long time. And I am an absolute mess because of things happening. I have so many things that I have to do and work on before I take an early morning flight. That's why I am an absolute mess and trying to figure out what is going on with my camera. Let me take this good old sip of coffee. Resituate myself. Ah, there we go. Creaky computer chair. All right. So, welcome, Fays and Fiends. Been a little bit, but we are here for something very special. As I said, I will probably be doing tabletop streams as a special thing, as special events. Whether it's being asked if I can for Kickstarters or any sort of crowdfunding, if there's like a special anniversary or if there's a special game jam. I'm switching over from doing, if you haven't noticed, every week a game to wanting to do recording and all that kind of stuff. Just free up time. Though going in October, it's always the most magical time for me because I load up everything with as many games as I can. And we're kicking off early. Not even October yet, but we're kicking off early because tonight we got a very special game here. Can't tell from the beginning and the overlays. We are playing a game called Dead Letter Society. This is a game by Rori Montford. I hope I said that correctly. Rory has a Kickstarter coming up for a companion sort of alt version of this game. So this game, you are a vampire, network with other vampires. The one coming up on the 29th, so that's just a couple days away, just a couple, is the, I'm terrible with words, the Almanac of Sanguine Pathshere. I think I said that all correctly. Gosh, I'm like halfway off the camera here. Okay. So if you are interested in this game, you can do the command code in chat called Dead Letter, both capitals. And if you want the link to the Kickstarter for the vampire or the werewolf version of this, that is Sanguine Pathshere, and I'm going to drop that in chat myself because that one, for whatever reason, I didn't do caps. So Sanguine Pathshere, or maybe Path. Nope, Paths, for the links. And if you catch this later on YouTube in the video on demand kind of stuff, it will be in the descriptions. That's not working. I gotta make that working. It's been a fun day. That's all I will say. It's probably because I was spelling it completely wrong. I'm gonna do pure copy and paste. Boop, boop. There we go. It is now in chat. So go check out that link for Kickstarter for the werewolf version of this, the Almanac. There we go. That's the word. The Almanac of Sanguine Pathshere. But for now, we're going to be doing vampires. I keep on saying vampire when I mean werewolf and werewolf when I mean vampire. Why not both? Why not both? And today our card deck, because I love showing off my card decks. This one is the Antique Anatomy Tarot. Those who have been with me a long time have seen this deck before in a few of my streams. This is made by the artist Claire Goodchild. Highly recommend. I love her stuff. She has oracle cards as well. She has like a seance book. I haven't looked at it yet, but that's pretty cool. Just shout out to any creators I utilize in my streams. I am not sponsored or being paid in any way. I'm just doing it because I love it. I love showing off all the fun things people put out in the world. But this one, purely that. So with that, let's start with our first portion. I feel like my music's too loud. Let me calm it down a little bit for me. So our first portion is just to take a little first gander at our book here. I have it as a digital PDF. So we have this beautiful sort of reds, like burgundy, maroony reds for the main kind of spot coloration, some papers, water splashes, a lot of black and white drawings. Very beautiful work. So a little descriptor about this game. It is meant, it can be a 2-player. We're playing it as a 1-player, but this first paragraph says Dead Letter Society is a 2-player game of letter writing and journaling. Each player assumes the role of a vampire with hopes, dreams, and fears. During the game, the vampire writes letters to each other, asking questions, giving advice, discussing their intentions, revealing secrets, and speculating on the curiosities discovered over time. Between letters, the vampire delves into topics that interest them and learn more about the world around them. So, we are playing solo. That is what we are doing. So really, it'll be interesting to see how that plays. As I'm now at the what you need to play section. If we're playing one person, safety tools of choice. I know what my boundaries are as a streamer here, so I'm good there. Copy of these rules, they're right there. Society application form. Ooh. I wonder if that, oh, that's the character sheet, which I have on another screen over here, which I will be using my tablet to doodle and sketch and draw on, so I know what's going on there. And of course, journaling. Well, you, my dearest listeners, and this recording device is my journaling. And wow, my PDF jumped way ahead suddenly. Yay. All right, where? Table safety, okay. Place to take notes, I said that. The exchange letters is just me. Tarot deck, right here. Generating numbers on the roll tables, which we will discuss when we get there. Create one pile containing the major arcana. Well, I gotta take a second to make sure I haven't mixed them all up here. So, again, we are doing this solo, so we don't have to worry about any sharing a deck or any what's that? That's going or anything like that. You can there is a link in a PDF for providing a roll table if you need. If you don't have a tarot deck to help you, so that's good. Oh, those are major, minor. All right. Continuing through the PDF here, we have a wonderful safety at the table section, something that all tabletop games should always have, even if it's solo, just to remind yourself of the kind of topics you are delving into. Which, for this game, the content warnings. This game involves vampires that can easily stray into areas with high emotional toll. Please be aware that your mental health and everyone's boundaries as you write. So even though I know my own, you as my dearest audience, if you are at any point, you're like, this story is getting intense for me. What are you doing, Natalie? Viewer discretion is advised, is all I can say to that. Please step away if you find that it is being too much. As much as I would love your viewership, I love your mental health more, so make sure you look after yourselves. So that is that. Wait, no, there's another paragraph. Let me keep reading. Some journaling prompts touch on grief, overwhelm, anxiety, despair, isolation, depression. These cards can be removed from the game if not desired. So if I do come across a card where I'm like, nope, I really don't want to answer that, we move on. And it does explain a bit more of what some of the main warnings are connected to, which cards are connected to. Trying to multitask. And then Oh, world building. There is a world building portion. So world building in this game assigns positive and negative traits to vampires, their society, and humanity. Some traits may touch on sensitive topics such as war, religion, or discrimination. Approach these topics with your lines and veils in mind at all times. Adjust them as needed. All right, I know mine, so it will be adjusted as needed. Oh, I think I hit a good bunch of major in there. There we go. Trying to get my card sorted. I just ran out of so much time today. It's a mess, but it's fine. Wow, all my major arcana were on top. That's cool. Okay. Star. Okay, I think I have my cards sorted. So let us continue on setting up the game and setting the tone. So first you'll define the tone and scope of the game. I think scope-wise, we may not have a lot of time to complete the full story, but we'll keep it pretty simple here. So it is a first look and first play to see how much we can jump right into this and show off the game. Build the guidelines for the world in which your character exists. Finally, you'll create characters, which I have my character sheet over here. All right. So for tone or atmosphere, describe the overarching themes, feelings, and emotions your characters will explore. So for example, some examples, maybe it's romance and friendship, rivalry, loneliness, political maneuvering. A good little list of some inspirations there. I think given I'm kind of writing this on my own and playing solo, I may explore that loneliness angle there. I think that could be a interesting one. So I'll shuffle my cards more in a moment. So let me have a place on my screen here, and I'll say the character sheet is amazing and beautiful. And I was seeing videos of Rori making the new sheets for the werewolf one, and they look amazing and beautiful. So highly recommend checking this out for yourself so you can see the amazing beautifulness. So I'm making a note that we're exploring loneliness. And companionship. Wanting to find companionship from that loneliness. All right. Setting the scope. Scope defines the genre, area, time frame, and real world length of the game you'd like. So real world, I would think you would want a minimum of an hour. I personally do not have an hour. So we'll say for now, we'll hit that 40-minute mark. This is going to be a game. Ooh, I like some of these sessions. Steampunk Mississippi. Ah, Lovecraftian Foggy Town. Ooh, I'm about to do a lot of Lovecraftian games. Maybe something else. Let's make it somewhat familiar. Let's do steampunk in Toronto because I'm going to be going through Toronto tomorrow. There we go, steampunk Toronto. So specific details are developed while building the world. Ooh, we'll be building a world section. But a loose concept at this stage, which we have. Area. It's assumed your characters aren't able to meet in person, which is where the letter comes in. However, it's an open question whether they're in the same city or not. I'll say whoever I am writing to is not in the same city or area as me. I think they're maybe a few hours away at least. So it's not something that's easy to meet up if we were to ever try to, but definitely a little bit away. Time frame. The time between two letters from a few nights to several decades. Time matters most for pacing. Given sort of steampunk Toronto, steampunk is usually around like more Victorian time. I don't think decades but at least like a night, so it would take nights considering how far away we are. Real world length. You can measure the real world length of a game by the number of letters each player can expect to write and receive. This, in essence, is the number of turns each player gets in the game. A short game consists of an exchange of 2 to 3 letters per player. Okay. Each tightly focused on the themes you wish to explore. A longer game may wander more and last for 6 or more letters per player. Alternatively, there we go. Games can end when a specific requirement is met. For example, when a grand conspiracy is exposed. Or it can even be open-ended. Yeah. What I'm getting for like the sort of feel of this is you can do it in a sit-down session, or it could be really interesting if you decide, especially if you're doing it with another player, to do this letter writing game. And maybe you have like a specific letterhead or something that you both decide this is going to be specifically for our game, and play this over real world stuff. I know postage costs money, but it could be a really fun thing to do, or you can do email, whatever floats your boat. But playing it as like real time stuff is really interesting. All right, world building section. A few assumptions are made in this text about the world you choose to explore together. I am a supernatural creature who consumes blood or an equally undesirable food derived from humanity. Yes, so I'll stick with blood. Blood is good. You exist in proximity to humanity. You can interact with humanity. The motivations of the Dead Letter Society are unknown when you begin play. So I have no idea what this is about, but I want in it so I could connect with other vampires. All right. Everything else is up to you for the building. Okay. And there's a section here about what is a vampire, what makes a vampire. Each player takes turns choosing 2 words from the vampiric traits list. Whew, words are bad for me tonight. I apologize. Once 4 words are chosen, take turns describing how each is a defining trait of the vampires. 2 traits are considered blessings by most vampires, and 2 are considered curses. All right. So let me look where I can place them on my sheet here. Well, first, my names and pronouns and all that stuff that I am being. So my parent age is going to be 30. My actual age is going to be 273. Pronouns: she, her. My name? For Steampunk Toronto, what would be a good name? I feel like it's gotta be something French. What? Juliet? Yeah, we'll say Juliet. And my sire, 273 years ago. That's before Canada was founded, so I don't even think Toronto. Oh god, I'm showing my history here. Well, if we're steampunk, that's more Victorian age, so definitely older than Canada. Probably came to the New World. That would put me in, if it was 1890s. So came over to the New World in the 1600s, if I did my math correctly there. So my sire, I feel like there might be some sort of Italian. I don't know why. I'm feeling Italian, like my sire's Italian. Marcello. Their name is Marcello. That is my sire. All right. I don't see a spot for traits. So I could be blind, but I'm going to put a spot for traits. So there is a wonderful list here. I would pick 4 in total. So I'm going to do... Ooh, I'm going to do shape shifting because that is super fun. That seems very positive. One more positive. Ooh. Oh, but there's teleportation. That would be amazing. I wish I had that. No, I'm gonna do for another positive here. Familiars. If I can shapeshift, I can have familiars. Just have a whole thing of animals that I can hang out with them as an animal. Or I guess I've seen it apply to humans in shows too, where you make humans a familiar. Oh, but wait, beast speech. Oh, okay, hang on. I want to change for beast. That sounds more fun. Then I can be an animal and talk to animals. Beast speech. Well, I'm a vampire. Okay. Enough indecisiveness. Now, what is 2 here that seem like negative traits? Ooh. Plague bearer. Ooh. That could be interesting. I can't remember what century or age the Black Plague was, but what if I was just shapeshifted as a rat at one point and I caused that mass outbreak? Plague bearer. Okay, I kind of like that. It's very much a negative. You don't want to be bearing plagues because it will people will know something is up. Okay. And then one more negative. Ooh. I will say, just reading through the list here, constantly going up and down it. But I'll put religion. I'm very much repelled by religion, so I can't be anywhere near churches, temples, or any such sanctified places. So my vampire, to go over what we just picked, my vampire is a shape-shifting individual. They're able to change their form to small creatures and beasts up to, like, I guess standard dog size. Anything larger is a no-no. It just cannot be done. But I am also able to speak with beasts. So not only am I able to change into them, I can speak to them, and I can include larger ones with my beach speech. So I could talk to bears and horses and the like. However, as much as I do love running around as a rat or a cat or a bird or whatever, I'm very much a plague bearer. I carry great disease, whether it's just from my saliva in my bite or a scratch of my claw. It can cause infection and spread into plague. And I am repelled by religion and all that there is in, so I cannot enter any temple or church, any such sanctified area. And those who may desire to hunt me can use religious paraphernalia to repel me or hurt me. So very classic. That's my one very classic one. Well, That's a lie, but that's a very, very much hard one to handle sometimes. So that is my vampire. Now we have some things and truths of the human world that we must consider here. So we want to assign 2 traits to humanity that is most admired by vampires, and 2 that they deplore. So, two that are good about humanity, especially in steampunk. I would say technology. The advancements of technology is incredible to watch. Another positive trait of them is I'll say their creativity, which kind of goes hand in hand with technology, because you need a creative mind to really delve into problem solving. I tried to blend those 2 words together. Problem solving, the needs of society, because a lot of great tech, whether just envisioned in fiction and made real, or always with the prospect of turn it real, is being able to fill the needs that have been left vacant in society. Now, 2 things that I deplore as my vampire nature. I do not like their I could pick religion again because it repels me. No, let's be different. I do not like how they... I'm going very environmental thing here, and there's environmentalism, but I don't like their polluting. I don't. It's gross. Polluting is gross. And when I'm a little animal, sometimes I get stuck in like something they've polluted with and it's uncomfortable and I have to find my way out. That'd be a really weird way to vampire hunt, is using pollution, and I don't like it. Looting. And then the second negative trait, I do not like their greed. It seems through the technology and their creative pursuits, the greed continues to grow as just even things that I think I can utilize out of humanity becomes a pain. And the areas that where I could have cultivated a little nest of my own, out beyond just the skirts of human civilization, they continue to expand out and take over. Now, I don't want to go into the middle of the boreal forests, but I hear there's more cottage country people, maybe. All right. So we got some things down, some things mentioned. So we have something about me, something about humanity. Now we need to do something about society of a vampire kind. So we need to consider each word and ask a question as we try to play. Ooh. So we pick 2 terms. So it's just me. So what shall I pick for our vampire society here? Going over this little list. Well, we are exploring loneliness and need to find companionship. So all the ones that kind of cross over herds or clans, any more structured society that I've just been on the outskirts of, maybe isn't as prevalent in my world. So isolation is one truth that is really hard to work around. As a positive, there is, I'm just reading the list quickly here. There is a culture. There's a culture that even though we aren't living near enough to each other or have very spread out to avoid being found out by humans or just hunted by them, we do have a culture of sort of only sticking to taking what is needed, respecting that there is other vampires out there in the world, and kind of giving each other that support even if we never get to see or speak to each other. We just, I guess it's more of like unwritten rules. Well, we'll do that instead. Unwritten rules. Sometimes you just need to talk and then the right word comes at you. So as a negative and a positive, yeah, I'll leave it at that. Because it says 2 for per player, but it's just me. All right. So to summarize with all the reoccurring themes is, in this industrial age at the turn of the century coming in a steampunk Toronto, vampires are experiencing a lot of isolation, but have unspoken rules that they all manage to maintain and communicate across lands and borders by whatever means exists. Rules of respect and taking only what is needed so that humans don't find us out. For humans are greedy as much as they are creative. And though they make great technologies, they pollute just as much, if not more, with it. So with that, that was the world building section. So we are now into building a character. So we kind of did. I'm playing Juliet, she, her, 273 years old, but looks 30 and was sired by Marcello. Some things that are asked are things like favorite items, your home location, allies. These are the sort of assets that you may expand upon later. So I'll say my location. We said Toronto is the city we're going to be writing out of. What's turn of the century Toronto? I'll say I found a place somewhere near Queen's Park. No, not Queen's Park. That's too close to City Hall. But there is a large central park near the downtown. So I will say I'm in one of the buildings that sort of overlooks that. Yeah. So those are things on the character sheet we can put. So just to explain what I'm looking at here, because I keep referring to it. The character sheet, again, beautiful, is referred to as the Deadlier Society application form. So let me drag it so I'm not looking to the side here the entire time. There we go. So the first page has things like most treasured possession, sanctuary's description, location, so our home, an ally / rival, which could be the person we're writing to. Then it has a section about you, the vampire, about your name, pronouns, age, your parent age, sire. Then it has things such as physical or emotional scar, most strongly held belief, and an oath you'll never break. Interesting. Then has a little paragraph here. State your ambition for joining the society and forming an acquaintance with a member of our choosing. The society will expand upon resources to match you with the most appropriate member. Your secrets are safe with us. So I guess that's where your partner letter comes in. Your assignment of the difficulty of achieving this goal on a scale from 1 to 3, where 1 is trivial and 3 is time consuming. Okay. So we're going to keep things pretty trivial, I think, since I said there's only so much time in a day or a night, in this case for both game and me. So we'll do it as a 1 for the difficulty scale. I'll decide who my partner writer is in a moment. We'll figure out a name. I'll let the cards decide. Let me see what I pull for a card first and draw from there. And then the fee. So the fees can range from ambition that favors society to leverage over dear allies. Okay, so you can use anything as a fee to join. So I think my fee, I'm a shapeshifter. Maybe it's being able to utilize the network of animals that I have, sort of a whisper network. So animal, familiar connection. I can set people up with their best cat, bat, rat, whatever they need. I can set them up. All right. Well, with all that, I think some things I will answer aloud when we get to them. That becomes important. But for now, the next section after the of the character builder is assets. When asked to develop an asset, either create a new asset or add additional information to an existing one. Okay. I think I understand that. You'll usually do this with an asset you use to answer. Oh, okay. So assets get used for around the tarot card stuff here. Now, does it say how many we start with? No, cards you draw will prompt you to develop or forfeit. Okay, so assets get determined here. So that's why we haven't filled it out yet. All right. I want to get started, so let me. There is things on scars and healing of scars, actors, all that stuff. I think that was stuff that will sink in a bit more if we get a couple plays here. So how to play section. Letter phase, write a letter and send it. Society phase, interact with society. Chronicle phase, receive a letter and chronicle your own life. Players begin the game in different phases. One player, player A, starts in the letter phase and writes their first letter. The other player, player B, writes in the society phase and has their first interaction with the Deadler Society. If both players desire more inspiration before writing their first letter, consider the variant rule, the story so far. Cool. So I want to know, this being solo, what would be the best way to handle this? I keep getting like lost by the beautiful artwork in this game. So I guess I can sort of pick where I want to be because I'm solo. So let me see. Chronicle phase. You sent a letter. Well, okay. Not chronicling. So society phase is what I want. After sending your letter, you interact with the dead letters. Draw a card. Okay, so this is where we can draw a card, is during the society phase. Make a note on the card, consult its prompt. Journal as much or as little as you like, weaving society. So we'll start with society phase. Sort of give us an idea of a jumping point. Maybe we haven't matched up with our letter writing yet. It will happen in this phase, and I can figure out who the person is. So we get to shuffle up our major arcana. And trying to see what's going on in the chat here. I don't know what any of that is going on there. I'm trying to play a game. Making sure I don't have a weird thing picked out in my tags. No, I'm fine. All right. So let us get a card picked here. All right. The star. So what does the star tell us for our society? Oh, I found the solo page. All right. Fill out the application for each vampire is what we would do. Okay. So let me do that then. Let's make our other vampire here. So we have Juliet and the companion vampire. Not sure how the companion vampire be here. Let's do... let's do... Their name will be... Aliana. She, her. Age 159, apparent age 27, and her sire. I feel like for Aliana it's something more English, classic English name. Let's go with, I don't want to go with John because that's just too classic. There's so many Johns. Or maybe something older, an older name. Or maybe a woman. I could go woman. Let's go with Cameron. So our companion vampire is Aliana. She, her, 159 years old, but looks 27. And her sire is Cameron. All right. So with that, yeah, we'll stick to that. Choose which one writes their letter first and set the letter aside. Begin the society phase for the second and journal. Okay, so we already drew the star, so we'll get back to that in a second. As for the first letter for Juliet, think about the themes and stuff we'd picked so far. So we'll pretend there's like a gramophone or whatever, those wax cylinder ones, and maybe that's how we do letters. It is steampunk, so we can get away with that. All right. So, dear Aliana, this is the first time I really get to send words to anyone. I am so used to such a distant isolation, as such over the couple hundred years, especially since coming to this world. And seeing the changes, it almost seems like it happens so quickly, even though I know to the humans it's much shorter. But in the time I've been here, I've seen their world just expand, while mine seems to almost shrink. I don't know how it is where you are. This place that started as a town is now just a metropolis. Creaking, loud, smoking machines running along metal tracks up and down the river and lake. Trams that I've heard the humans call them, scaling the streets. Seems long gone the horses are. I was so used to having horses. But I suppose you can't fault humanity for their ingenuity and wanting to expand of the world. I mean, they are very much prey if they do not realize it themselves. I hope that for whatever hardships you may experience, that you have an easier time than I do. I seem to be struggling a lot with these new technologies. As much as I appreciate them, the pollution they leave, it makes hunting food terrible. The only plus side is because a lot of them get sick often, no one seems to attribute any of my techniques to obtain food a notable thing. I am not great with words, as I said, and this is probably the first time I've been able to really put them out to anybody. I'm used to just being in one of my shaped forms. However, I look forward to our connection through the society, and I hope I can receive a letter soon. Regards, Juliet. There we go. A simple letter from Juliet. Okay. So let's go to now the section we pulled the card for, which is our society phase. Yeah. So this is where when we are not writing a letter, we journal our experience. So my Juliet's letter is being sent out in the world through the network and heading for Aliana, who Aliana is experiencing society right now. So let us find the star in this wonderful table. I have to say, I always like to point out design aspects of a game in terms of visual design, like graphic design. This one has a really nice, it's got the number label for the tarot cards, and it has like short little descriptors, like very quick, easy to see what the overall thing of it is. So here we land on the star, has hope, support, and healing. We get to develop an item, forfeit an actor, or heal a scar. So that is what is offered under this card. So, when everything is dark, even a glimmer of hope is worth reaching for. Though everything may have gone wrong, there is still a way out. You can feel it. What tragedy struck and what lifeline was offered? Well, as we established, this steampunk world, there is a lot of isolation. And maybe humanity is experiencing it differently, but vampires are feeling spread out and distant. And with that development, Eliana has found that the place that she had initially called home ended up being demolished by humanity. That humans came and wiped away everything that her home encompassed, and it was just a small little place. It may have been old and rickety, but she kept it. But someone did come, and someone did decide that it was land that belonged to humans and they can do as they wish. So Eliana had to flee under risk of daylight. Luckily, she doesn't suffer the severe burn like other vampires can. She doesn't have that kind of sensitivity. But it does reveal her more unholy, rotting nature, as where Juliet probably does appear more humanesque, if not maybe features that come off as animal. Aliana looks more akin to a corpse, and even has that sort of death smell that she tries her best to cover with strong perfumes and herbs, but not easily covered. Now, how she was able to get out? Someone of society, someone local enough to her had connections within the local government, understanding where developments are mating up. And they just managed to catch of this development that was encompassing Eliana's home. So they quickly sent word to her, letting her know that her home was in danger, and thus her if she remained. So she was able to escape the situation and find safety in one of the sort of kind of Safeway house in a way for vampires that sort of get dislodged from where their dens were. But that is Aliana's society phase. Going back up to our fun graph here that tells us where we are. So Juliet wrote a letter. Aliana did her bit of society. Now we chronicle. So after everything, as Aliana sits in the half sort of Safeway house, the letter does come to find her there. And reading it over, it had been a really, really long time. She almost felt like the network may have forgotten she was supposed to be partnered with someone, or the Dead Letter Society. But then reading this letter, it's very chicken scratch. It's not well defined in writing. Based on the contents, maybe this Juliet is just not used to writing generally. So, but she feels that same isolation that Juliet kind of notes in the correspondence. Oh, I was supposed to get Aliana actor or not an actor, but a item. We develop an item for Aliana because of that card. Asset. What would be a good asset from that situation of having your home kind of torn away and then being put up in a house? Develop an item. I think in the last ditch moments of getting everything together, she did collect a kind of those really old-fashioned cameras. She managed to pull one from the crew. Maybe they had it there to take pictures of the development for the papers, but she managed to snag a camera. That's fun. All right. So spend up to 3 chronicle points. That is part of the chronicling phase. Okay. So when you receive a new letter, open and read it at any time in the chronicle phase. Consider what interests you and what you could act on. Explore these topics and those from previous letters and your journal using the chronicle points. You begin each chronicle phase with 3 chronicle points. Spend 1 chronicle point to earn more, then learn more about topics that interest you, delve into memories, pursue your agenda. Okay. So sort of expanding upon where the letter in society started. And now we utilize the minor arcana to sort of expand upon that. Okay. We get 3. So, what would I like to explore further with a chronicle point? Well, it seems like not only do we have this whole overarching theme of isolation we decided upon. This music's too cheerful for that. Calm down, music. It seems there's also like a displacement happening because of it, because of what the humans are doing. So maybe that's something to explore further, is how far-reaching that displacement is. Is it affecting more than just us? And is it purely through humans overreaching, overdeveloping the lands in their cities? So let us see. Right, we got 7. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of rods or wands, if you have a classic deck. All right. So let's jump to 7 of wands. See what the prompt is. Major arcana, minor. There we go. Haha. 7 of wands. Activism, disruption, conviction. Your principles are challenged. How do you fight for them? Progress in ambition or regress in ambition? Oh, you're unafraid to fight for what you believe is right. Who do you manage to sway that helps you right now? Who has noticed that you oppose their values? And then on the opposite side, a small setback is worth standing up for what you believe in. Who do you defend in their moment of need? Who else takes positive note of your deeds? So we don't really have any progress on our ambitions, methinks. So I think both characters would progress. Juliet is more of the social anxious type, but she is willing to fight back. So this sort of disruption activism. I think she takes on a more physical approach, being animals and stuff, creating a little bit of chaos in which using her beast speech and her disguising herself as animals, she kind of runs a gang of rats all through the structures, alleyways, such, making people just want to recoil and get out of the area, just because every time they try and bring people in to do any termination, they just get overwhelmed. And though they start to suspect a supernatural element to this, a superstition, there becomes this sort of network of rumors happening around a possibility of an area being cursed to having to halt construction and progress there. I think Juliet does convince, probably convinces someone that could potentially be an ally, another sort of local of the network, that after the repeating events of these wild feral animals attacking and people starting to get diseases in the area and now just backing off, I think they take notice and aren't too happy because maybe they have a hand in that construction. Maybe it was something that they could expand upon and utilize for their own purposes. So I'll say the person that didn't like it, their name is Joran, and they're sort of a land developer. And someone that I convinced or swayed to help right now. Maybe it's a seemingly young man who's just seemed to be living on the streets, but is actually another vampire, though newer. And his name is Terry. We have Terry. So Terry and Joran. And then for Aliana, where she is, yeah, she is also taking the progress ambition approach. So for her, I mean, she suffered it immediately because her home got taken away. So she does it in a weird way where, as the construction goes, she manages to sway someone from the safe house to someone who looks far more living and far more human, to maybe set it up that they uncover a body there and it's going to be her, as she already looks like a bit of a corpse and smells like a rotting corpse. And then there can be a controversy of what happened to the body when, after bringing her to the morgue, she disappears. And that just takes away time from trying to build the development, and they can go in and mess it up as much as they can. So for Aliana, she sways someone named Marie. And she has another person that is in development. Maybe this is Joran as well. Maybe he has many hands and many pots as the kind of main proprietor and funder of these developments. Okay. So that was one chronicle point. So let's do a second here. So that was around isolation that became fighting back against the disruption and greed, the desolation. Oh no, that's a major arcana. Let's put that back. Oh. Yeah. Knight of Elixirs or Cups for the traditional tarot. All right. So for Cups, 8. No. Knight. Knight is okay. So Knight of Cups themes are obsession, brooding, and passivity. There's only one thing that will satisfy your hunger tonight. It proves nearly impossible to find, and you feel elated when you find it. What is it that drives you to such lengths? So we can suffer a scar. What happened to you after you sated your hunger? You had what you wanted, or thought you did, or you can regress in ambition. You spend so long looking for the perfect way to sate your hunger that you miss the obvious. What blender did you make? I think Juliet regresses in ambition. She's been so careful, especially now that she's sort of been encompassed by a metropolis, a city, that she tries to make it more look like it's just rabid animals that are biting at people. But what she tends to forget, being plague-ridden, is how unique her bites and the infections from them appear on humans. And it's at a point where she's been taking so long trying to minimize that obvious point that eventually gets to where when she is able to latch down on somebody, she acts in an off way and loses her shape-shifting control and takes more of like a half human, quote unquote, half animal, which of course freaks everyone around her out, and she is forced to completely disappear back into whatever recess she has and calls a home. So, no ambitions. Ambitions are gone for Julietta. Aliana, I think in that moment where she was doing that job against the developer and her body was used, like she was literally used as a dead body and got pulled up and brought to the morgue. She very much, now being so close to people, to humans, the smell, the beat of their heart, the way it pumps in their veins, she can see and smell and hear every aspect of that. And it makes it incredibly hard for her to remain still and continue that dead look. I mean, the look itself is not hard to continue, but the stillness is. So as she sits in the morgue and starts to prepare to get herself out, she does come across a person who's quietly at work at their desk, marking down notes from a file that one can assume may be about her as the newest body, a Jane Doe, that she doesn't realize how exposed she is, that there is only glass between her and this man. And as she stares, he turns and looks up and sees her staring. So Aliana rushes forward. And very quickly, this man grabs at things and tries to throw and slash, whether it's with scalpels or bone saws, whatever he needs, he's grabbing and trying to keep her away as she is grabbing and trying to latch onto him. Eventually she does, but through the struggles of it all, the embalming fluids, the instruments, all of it that he's been using to attack back, as she now has to, just in full force, her scar she has just one large gaping line from basically the artery up in the neck, coming down across the clavicle and almost down into the kind of underarm, outer breast area from the bone saw. So it's very ragged and serrated. And now she has just this long gash that just will never really fully heal, right across her. My writing utensil. Aha, got it. All right. So let's do one more chronicle. Gosh. So we had the exploration of being dislodged from one's place. Now pure hunger. From a desperation. So what's something else we may explore? Well, let's go with the card here. Ooh, 11 of blades or swords for the classic tarot. Swords. Wait, no, there's no 11. That'd make it the page. What am I talking about? I'm silly. 9. It's 9. So I say, like, wait a second. All right. 9 of Swords. Themes are fear, anxiety, and nightmares. Why did you say that? The moment the words left your mouth, you regretted them. Now the nagging worry presses at the back of your skull. So we can forfeit a principle or regress an ambition. For Juliet, she realizes, because one of her principles is take only what you need to feed. And I think she is so strict upon that she doesn't realize just how hungry she gets, which can create a problem for her. So she's going to become a little bit of what she hates about humanity, greedy. She will be a little more free of that principle so that she can, because she can't keep letting herself starve just to get a little bit of food. If it means to keep her safe, like, what would be the point of continuing this existence if she always has to worry about that? And she just needs to feed, she needs to eat. For Aliana, I think Aliana loses an ambition, or regresses ambition. So whatever she said, it comes back to haunt her. Word spreads, and you find yourself stymied at several turns. What did you hear people say about you? So I think Aliana vents her frustrations about how isolated vampire society is. The individuals are from each other. How it would be so much easier if more of us could work together, if we stopped just letting unspoken rules control us and maybe make some actual structure for ourselves, because humanity is very much surpassing us and We're becoming more like a distant feral folktale than anything that's of actual substance in the world. And I think very quickly rumors and words swirl back and around to her, really blowing up in terms of saying like she just wants to, you know, create a society for her to control. She wants to just devour humans and subjugate them. They get really out of control and beyond what she had attended with her words. She just wanted to vent. And unfortunately, it went beyond the circle she had hoped. All right. So that was technically a complete turn we did. We wrote a letter, we did a chronicle, and society. Yay. My computer is struggling at the worst moment on things. All right. Well, now that I have a better handle, I really want to continue. Unfortunately, we are out of time. I think what I really want to do is be able to play this with somebody. I feel like this would be a really fun game to do, especially if you do it traditionally with physical material, physical letters. It could be a really fun game. Something. So I'm getting distracted because now my PDF doesn't want to load properly. It's telling me it's out of memory. So delightful. Let me close this. So yeah, in terms of like a first look at the overall PDF and rules and the first sort of touch upon the game. Again, I wish I had so much more time to do this. I think it's definitely a different approach. I've done a few vampire journaling games now, where it's very much a solo endeavor of a vampire experiencing the world going over either years or centuries. And in the way this game offers to players, you could treat it that way too, where in between your letters, it can be days or years. So I do like it has such a open approach to how you want to develop the world, and it doesn't have to be our real world necessarily. I can see this as a really cool option where if you were developing vampires for maybe another tabletop game, this could be a way you can understand the personalities a little bit more and see where they end up. It's going to be driving me nuts that it's not loading. Let me get this back open here. I know there is a couple sections we didn't get to touch on beyond the initial cycle of play. There is a section on like resolving conflict, such as if players write conflicting statements about the world or have conflicting ideas of what should happen for an asset and such. So it does sort of address that, where players like, I don't really want that as our truth. There's also a section on character death and retirement, or just doesn't make any sense for them to continue. So you can do that. And how to end the game. So the game ends after the agreed upon a number of letters are exchanged. I didn't get to write Aliana's reply, unfortunately. So we would have done one letter, which would have been one for each. The characters have satisfied their end game goals, or one or both players think the narrative has run its course. After the final letter, each player completes one final chronicle phase as an epilogue to their vampires. So I guess as a wrap up for at least our two vampires here, Juliet and Aliana, they're now more displaced than they've ever been, in the isolation greater than they've ever felt. Juliet, having become more aggressive in her approaches, she's been kind of hunted and pushed to the outer rims of human society and forced to keep going. So she's unsure of where she'll end up. Aliana is struggling with maintaining a foothold in her own city, where the vampires have questioned whether she's of sound enough mind to be among them. Chronicle phase does involve a major tarot card pull, so here it is, the Fool. So for the pair, declare an ambition, declare a principle, develop an item. A letter arrives for you bearing the Society's seal, but with no mention of the sender. Within is a small square of vermilion paper and a carefully wrapped trinket. The paper bears the words, "Our dance begins," in a large, sprawling script. The trinket is something you thought lost, something of significant sentimental value. What thoughts run through your mind? I think this is how they learn Joran, that they both scorned but did not realize they did it, or that they both did it to the same person. A much higher vampire in sort of a hierarchy who had his hands in the developments of the land so that he can manipulate humanity and humans and their choices and make them sort of easy enough prey for him and those that he is connected to. But with Juliet's and Eliana's actions, it's really disrupt the control and has delayed much. So as they had to abandon their homes, he has sent this letter, and they think they have to keep running, and they won't be able to make a safe space for themselves anymore. All right. So that is our vampires. Additional things about our book that we have here, a delightful book. There is a section on pre-generated characters, as well as worlds. One is called Tea Time Detective Club. That's amazing. I love it. I should go read it. As well as additional resources if you need any help there. So that is awesome. So this was a very, very light preview, I'll say, of Dead Letter Society. Gosh, I wish I had time to play more, so now that I have a better idea of things. But I highly recommend, if you want this game for yourself, in chat. I'm gonna do it right now. Exclamation point, capital dead, capital letter. And that brings up the link to grab Dead Letter Society from the itch page. Or if you want to get the upcoming my words are so bad tonight. Werewolf version of this, the Almanac of Sanguine Pathshere. But now also dropping in chat, there's a link to the Kickstarter, which is launching on the 29th, so sign up to be notified. I'm not paid or sponsored to do any of this. I just wanted to do it for fun and showcase the game a little bit. I like showing off the solo games to the best of my ability here. So yeah, I definitely want to sit down again, maybe with someone else, see if we want to do a distance thing of emailing back and forth. This sort of game. I think it'd be very interesting. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a good day, night, evening, whatever it is in your time zone. I have packing and stuff I need to do. I got so much to do. It's been a day. And yeah, I will see you next time as we will be playing more games on streams for October, as it is part of our special October Spoop Fest time. Our next game is going to be lots of fun, following that theme of undead things and such. So make sure you come back and check it out. That'll be on Tuesday. Hopefully I can do it because I am away for a weekend in another country. And then I have to doodle on, or words are gone. But yeah, remember, check out the links in chat. Or if you're watching this later, especially on YouTube, it will be in the description down below for everything you need to find more about this game, more about its companion game, and all the fun stuff. And you can try it and see what kind of vampire relationship you develop. So enjoy, and we'll see you all next time.